Guys, what's going on? So there's a lot of action going on these days in the calisthenics community that was started. Obviously, if you guys are watching me, you've heard of RipRight HD, RipRight Islam, and his partner Mel, New York-based calisthenics athletes. I first came upon RipRight or Islam when he was on the That's Good Money channel several years ago. But since then, he's branched out on his own. He's selling a rip sticks and he's doing all these things. And he came up with an idea. I actually have my buddy here, Aldo from Crusades of Motivation, and we were talking about this. And Islam came up with this idea to have calisthenics athletes compete against each other. And his, from what I've seen him in his content, he says, well, why shouldn't they get paid like other athletes? Which is a great point. So he's actually started up a channel here on YouTube that he's called Settle It on the Barz. And he pits these athletes against each other. And actually, the first one that I saw is actually competed against another athlete down in Maryland. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. So how you doing, Aldo? You've seen these videos? You've checked it out and all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Thanks for having me, and Beanie. I really appreciate you, man. Well, I said it on the show too, man. On the GFTA show, this is just a brilliant idea. Something that probably was somebody already thought about, but nobody really implemented. And yeah, I watched. What is it? 4 so far? Is it 4 battles in there so far? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I believe we're on. We're in February of 24, and I think they started at the beginning of the year. Either way, yeah, I think you're correct. I think there's been 3 or 4 battles.
Yeah, 3 or 4 with super tough routines. A few of these routines I've tried myself, and this is some crazy shit, man. That it makes you realize how tough these routines are, and especially to do them with time chasing you.
That's a great point. Shout out to you, actually, for trying these routines. But they really are some brutal routines, right? There's some weighted calisthenics in there. The muscle ups, there's a lot of pull ups, but yeah, I mean, they're tough routines. It's not just straight body weight pull ups and push ups. They really get crazy with them. So yeah, it's good stuff. But you tried them out. You tried a couple of routines yourself.
Yeah. Just fucking crazy, man. To think like, oh, they did this in so many minutes is just fucking amazing, man. And I think this is gonna take off. That's one thing I want to say, man. I think we early into the actual whole movement, and I believe this thing is gonna be a big thing that's actually needed for the calisthenics world, man. Because it's probably one of the oldest forms of exercise. And this world doesn't have anything like that, right?
Right.
Even CrossFit is newer than calisthenics and has its own CrossFit games,
right?
And different sports out there, man. So I think this is gonna take off, man. Shout outs to RipRight for doing this, and
yeah,
I fucking wish the best, man.
It's a great concept. Obviously, right now it's in its infancy. But yeah, I mean, it puts a spotlight on a lot, and like you said, there's a lot of talented calisthenics athletes out there, and why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they get something for their efforts? They're putting in just as much work as any other type of athlete. They're just as dedicated. They're just as talented, right? So yeah, why shouldn't they be compensated in some way? Listen, everybody loves to compete. Just for. Even without getting paid, the competition, it's human nature, right? To want to compete and want to do well. But, let's be honest, when you throw a couple of bucks at them too, that adds a little bit more incentive,
Motivation, definitely.
Yeah. And again, why shouldn't they? I mean, talented guys, dedicated guys, they work hard. And like you said, these routines are brutal, and you're competing there like, hey, you want to definitely they deserve the accolades, but a little scratch too is good.
Yeah, man. Right. And I think this is gonna take this world to another level, because guess what? Athletes are gonna start doing. They're gonna start training, right? And they're gonna start discovering new limits. And this just came to my mind the other day. I'm like, hold up, man. This is gonna make athletes push for a better time, a better form, and that's something that we're gonna speak about here, man. Because I'm ignorant, man. I don't know too much, and this is actually teaching me a few things of what a better form will be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good point that you made. A lot of guys, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure there are competitions. I've heard of one called, oh, geez, the name escapes me now. Lockout League, I believe it's called. It might be in the New York area where they have a competition, but I don't believe that that's. I think that's just for, first place, second place, and maybe, a trophy or a ribbon or something like that. And again, that's going to motivate people to a certain degree. But I think there's a faction of people that would just say, well, I'm really not interested in competing like that. It doesn't really get me going. But again, when there's money at stake and people say, hey, I'm putting in the work and I can compete and actually get paid for what I'm doing, I think that's going to give them another level of motivation. So again, it's a great concept. I hope it does take off, because I enjoy watching it. You know what I mean? I'm when I see these guys, I really am. I'm in awe of some of them. The talent that they have and the dedication that they have. So I'm really hoping that it does kick off. It does take off. But anyway, why don't we take a look at the first competition that they posted on the Settle It on the Barz YouTube channel. This was between Iz from Team Rip, the leader and founder of Team Rip Right, and a guy by the name of Mantime, who's based down in Maryland. Up until recently, I had not heard of Mantime, but then I did see some of his content online. Very talented guy. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at this.
Let's do it. Actually, I've found about Mantime through Redbright, because I was seeing him. I think when he was announcing, I'm gonna do this battle, this and that, the Settle on the Bars. That's when I started looking into Mantime, man. I mean, a beast. That's what I gotta say, man. A beast, man. Shout outs to both of them.
Oh yeah,
man.
Yeah. I've definitely, since hearing about him, I've watched some of his content, and really is, this guy. He's tough. He's tough. So this was a really, I think, evenly matched battle. This is the beginning of it, and they start out with 5 muscle ups, with 35 pounds.
3, 2, 1, let's go! Up there. Let's down. Go! Up. Let's go. Up. Yep. Forward. Yep.
Man.
So yeah, that's that's how they start, and then it just goes from there, And the second set after that, and they did again. There's no rest here. They're just going right into it, right? They're not going to sit around and rest, and, have a coffee break. So they're going to go into 10 pulls, and then 5 muscle ups, and they're going to do that 5 times, right?
Man. That those muscle ups on itself with weight, man, that's already tough.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This was a very pull-intensive pull-ups and muscle-ups right from the get-go. So this had to be very, very tiring. I mean, I don't know how they kept up this pace and did what they did.
Amen.
Mantime over there got him right quick. He didn't even blink, man.
Catch him in the long going set.
Yep.
Catch him in the long going set.
Early on, it looks like they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, I mean, coming from those muscle ups, pull ups, and then another set of muscle ups, man. That's you gotta be I can't even do it myself. You gotta be a elite athlete, man. I'm trying to get there, Beanie. But man,
Yeah.
that's a lot of training this guy's been doing to just get into this few sets.
Yep, absolutely. Right about here, they're into the 5th round of the 10 pull-ups with the 5 muscle-ups, right? They're still into that. They're doing 10 pull-ups with 5 muscle-ups, and that was 5 rounds. So now they started the 5th round of that. Now this is where a little bit of controversy came in. You could see now definitely there was something wrong here with Iz. He's not looking. He's really not looking himself right there. You know what I mean? He seems like he's fatiguing. I mean, it's definitely brutal sets and all, but you can see that there's something going on with him. Now, right here, you'll see that Mantime gets up and sits on the bar, right? And this is kind of what, you know, started the controversy, you know, and he was putting his feet against the bar and kind of taking a rest. And then he did this a couple of times. And at one point, you know, you could see Iz looks over at him and doesn't say anything, but apparently there were no, they didn't mention that in the rules. You know what I mean? They didn't talk about that because I guess you're not used to it happening because, you know, they're competing here on the bars that are right against the wall. Normally you wouldn't be, you know, it's not too often that you're doing this with the bar against the wall like that. So anyway, he's kind of taking a bit of a break up there. And actually Iz finished the set. So Iz is a little bit ahead right here. Now you can see right there.
I see that
right there that Mantime is holding himself up and he's got his feet planted on the wall, right? So again, at this point, you know, is ahead of him and he's into these pistol squats. So this is the first time in a competition doing anything other than anything other than pulls.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's an all rep, man, because that, you know, that's resting. That's resting, man. Well, however you want to see it, you know, that's
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In hindsight, it definitely, it should not have been allowed. And those reps, no. I believe those reps, you know, it's not that he didn't do the muscle up and get up there, but he should have, you know, if he was looking to take a break, he should have come down off the bar, taken his rest, you know, and then gotten on with it. So again, that's where a lot of the controversy started.
Yeah, and you know what now? Being with this, man, since it's just a baby right now, so everything I think is getting into the rules and what's the proper form for this, how much you want to say, because there's another video in there that they talk about the pull-up, like come all the way down and then make sure the chin is over the bar. So I think this is, I think it should be more in the I think it should be in the same spot, so it's always the same for everyone.
Well, therein lies the problem because, you know, they started the league, and again, it's going to be, you know, trial by fire. That they have to go through it. There's going to be a learning process. There's going to be a learning curve. But obviously here, they just got together and did it. I don't know how much talk went into what's a good rep, what's a bad rep, exactly what the rules were, who exactly was judging. Obviously, you couldn't have one guy judging both athletes because there was a lot going on either side, right? So you'd have to work something like that out. And how are you picking your judges? What instructions are you giving to the judges to look out for? So the guy on the left may be looking at it a different way than the guy on the right. You know, if you just pick two guys at the last minute and say, hey, real quick, these are going to be the rules, just keep an eye out for us.
It's inconsistent.
Again, you don't know how consistent is it going to be? So, you know, that's going to lead to some controversy.
Maybe they should have two judges on each side, and then they can talk about things on the, you know, because, hey, if they want to really take it on the pro level, it has to be on some set rules and some clear things that, okay, this game, it goes like this. These are the rules. You know, like boxing, you got three judges, right? And then they at the end, they all compare their results. So I think there should be something like that here.
Yeah, that's a great point. Again, there's got to be consistency, right? It can't just be, and again, this battle took place, I believe, down on Mantime's home turf in Maryland.
Okay. So, that's where he's from?
Yeah, he's based down in Maryland, somewhere outside the D.C. area, I think, Baltimore, D.C. area. But again, you know, who are these judges? And obviously, so now they're in Maryland, so the guys that are doing any type of judging are going to be from that area. So again, I don't know what preparation went into that part of it, but that would be something that you definitely have to iron out. And again, there's going to be a learning curve. So with each subsequent competition, you know, if you see something and say, oh, okay, we're going to have to change it and put a rule in, to govern this. You know, it's going to going forward. It's going to have to be done this way. We're going to be looking for this specifically. You have to perform the exercise this way. You know what I mean? So everything's consistent across the board. But when you have two people, you know, looking at one situation, people see things. You know, again, I was in law enforcement for over 30 years, and it's funny because the worst type of evidence. The absolute worst type of evidence that you could rely on is an eyewitness account of something, because people see things totally different. You know what I mean? And I found that over the years to be absolutely true. You could have a car accident, or you could have something happen in front of 10 people. Almost guaranteed, the best you're going to do is get half of them say blue and half of them say red. You know what I mean? It's crazy when, so again, getting back to this, you could have people looking at the same competition, the same rep, and say, no, that was a good rep. No, I don't think so. That was a bad rep. And we can't have that. There has to be some way to make it consistent, so you don't have this controversy, So again, there was obviously in this competition, there was no rule in place to stop him from sitting up on the bar. But in hindsight, you and I are far removed from it, and we say, yeah, that really shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no,
that shouldn't have been. As this soap opera unfolds, this kind of became a bone of contention with the fact that he was up, sitting on a bar.
When you catch up at whip right.
So again, they're kind of neck and neck up to this point. Now, when they finish up with this, they're going to go on to the next round, which is actually 10 pull-ups with a 45-pound plate. And if you watch here, Mantime is kind of one of them down.
Look at Ace. He's just hung on there for a little bit.
Yeah, and if you see, Iz is just, he's not having it. So he comes down off the bar. So again, basically that was it for him. And he just called it right there. Again, what the problem was, he didn't say, after it was over, he just kind of said, I had to stop. But he didn't quite explain why. Maybe he was feeling sick or whatever.
Man, that's exactly what happened, BD. I know that feeling. I've been there a few times, man. And I think that's what happened. And I wish you would explain, though, because that's good to know, man. Sometimes we see celebrities, like this, athletes like this, that, we have them with such a high standard that things like this happen to them, too. So it would have been cool to know. So, right, do you watch this, man? Let us know what happened.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. We inquiring minds want to know. We want to get to the bottom of this. That was that. You know what I mean? So Iz sat out the rest of the competition, and then Mantime obviously, went on to win it.
My water, Kim, my water. That body on the bed yet. Me and the bourbon.
So that was it. You could see there that, Iz doesn't look too happy.
Yeah.
Obviously disappointed in himself and, whatever was going on there. So anyway, that was that. And then actually there was some back and forth on social media between the two after that. I think it was on Instagram. I saw a couple of comments, basically Mantime defended his position. I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? I did the muscle up and there was no rule against it. I didn't break any rules. And Iz said, well, it wasn't right. And so there were people going back, and it's social media, so there's going to be two sides of the coin, two sides to the story all the time. But anyway, then that was that for that one. And we had the rematch. Again, I believe this one was down in Maryland.
How far from each other you think it was?
It was a little over a month, about 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to fast forward about 5 weeks.
They have to be training this whole time.
Oh, I'm sure they were. Absolutely. So here we are at the rematch. As you could see, this time around, the bars are not against the wall. The scenario's going to play out a little differently.
And what was the routine here?
So here they're going to start off with just 10 muscle-ups. Now, we were talking a little bit about the rules earlier. And apparently this routine, again, when we talk about being consistent with the routines and all, from what I understand with this routine, Man Time actually came up with the routine. He designed this routine. There was a stipulation put in with the muscle ups, and the term they're using is "don't kick out the windows." In other words, when you come up for the muscle up, it's got to be relatively clean. Your feet can't, jut out forward in front of the bars too far. But again, who exactly is going to judge that on each side? How far is too far, if that makes sense, right? They're saying here that it's got to be a relatively clean, straight up and down muscle ups, and those legs can't kick out in front of the bars, in front of your body too far. And again, the term they're using is "don't kick out the windows." Again, they were relatively evenly matched here, but what happened with Man Time was,
5,
as you could see,
6,
Iz starts off,
7,
he's on fire here. He's going straight up and down. Those are clean muscle ups.
9.
And if you look at Man Time, his legs are
10
coming
goblet
out,
squats, 24 kg,
a little in front of him.
ATG and lockout.
But again, to me, they're still perfect muscle ups.
2,
Yes,
But then
sir.
they go into they go into some weighted squats here.
6, 7,
That's 50 kilos or 45 pounds.
10. That's it.
I believe that's I believe it was 24 kilos, which would make it what?
Oh. 50.
Right, about close to 50 pounds, right? 40, yeah, about 50 pounds, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So now, but they break it up a little bit, with the legs. So they come off the bar now, and they do some legs, and then they're going to go into more pull-ups, more weighted pull-ups with 36 pounds.
1,
36 pounds.
2, 3, 4,
And again,
And they got great.
6, 7, 8.
The stipulation here was they have to be clean reps, fully locked out at the bottom, and obviously chin over the bar.
Yeah, great form, man. Both of them, man. Like
Both
that.
of them.
All the way.
So now they're going to go into some box squats. So again, they're breaking it up again, as opposed to that first routine where they just started out with pull after pull, and then muscle ups. So now
Yeah, this is a great routine.
Here.
That's the main thing. 1, let's go.
1,
And you can see he's blowing through them. I mean, his muscle ups are clean.
4.
Oh, he's
Now here's where Man
stumbled
Time
there.
starts.
Now,
he starts
can you
having
record
some
it a second there? But also, Rip Rice stumbled a little bit there on his maybe third or fourth muscle up there. And so with that's one thing. Like, I'm confused on the muscle ups. When you get stuck on the top, is that a no rep? Is that what do you understand that from that? Is that a no rep if you coming up the body, you stay here, or that still counts? Or
In other words, if you go up and then hesitate before you do
the dip? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, I don't think it's that clear, to be honest with you. But again, you could see here that Iz got through the 5 muscle ups, and they were all good, obviously. But then we see Man Time
4.
on his. I guess it's his last rep.
Oh yeah,
He
he
doesn't make
failed
it.
there.
Right. So this is kind of where things go south for Man Time in the rematch.
I think it's great that they're doing that at the bottom for the push-ups.
Yeah.
Touch the hand. So they should use a device or something. Like a ball or something that it's for.
Right.
Because maybe his hand is bigger than the other man's hand. So that make that shit consistent, man. If this is gonna turn into a league, a game, or whatever, it has to be all the way consistent. You had a great idea, actually, Vinny. Hey, Red, check this out, man. Aldo was talking about maybe putting a string for then if you touch that string and your legs should not touch the string. That's a clean muscle up. That's a great idea, Vinny.
Yeah, again, because you could see that Man Time, obviously, he started struggling early with the muscle ups, and his legs are coming out. Again, from this angle, we can't tell exactly how far, but it's obvious that his legs are coming out far in front of his body, far in front of the bars. Now, again, so you have somebody watching, and it's going to be inconsistent. It's going to be too subjective. But if we had some type of physical barrier where, whether you put up some type of string or a piece of rope or, across the front of both bars where, okay, you're going to know for sure if those legs or those feet touch that wire or touch that string. And then you can call that rep a no rep, right? Rather than just have somebody eyeballing it and making it that subjective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe could be an answer. But again, even here with the fist, where exactly is he putting the fist? You know what I mean? And on each side, if you had something physical, the same size that you could put on the ground and have somebody just make sure that they touch it as they go down.
The touch, yeah.
Right. That would be, I think that would be safer than having somebody just place their fist under the competitor's chest, because again, where exactly is that fist going? Where exactly is it positioned? Right. So that's going to affect, what's called a rep and what's called a bad rep. So, but again, so the next set here was the push-ups, and Iz moves on to that with no problem.
25 push-ups. 17, 18, 19.
And there's that thing that you
And
just
again,
talked about.
man time struggled
Men.
big time, on
Yeah.
11, come on, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
25.
14, 15.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell for us here, is man time even hitting this guy's hand or his fist, and
4 more.
Yeah, and it looks like it's on his stomach, and then on REPZ look like it's on his chest.
2,
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, exactly.
4, 5.
4 muscle ups.
So now they're going to go in, they're going to work it
Four
down
muscle-ups.
with is on the 4 muscle ups,
2, good.
and again he's obviously slowed down, but
Don't waste it.
his reps look good. I mean, they look great. I mean, I couldn't do something like that for sure,
2 more.
But now he's smart because he knows he's ahead here, and he knows that man time is struggling with the muscle ups. So he's being real strategic.
1.
Oh, see, there you go with those legs right
Now-
there. You're talking about kicking the windows.
Yeah, now you see, I'm unsure if they called that rep good or bad, but if you saw there, even Iz gave a look over, and you could tell he didn't approve of that rep when he saw it.
I think they counted it. It looks like they did.
I think they did too, yeah.
4.
Man, REPZ, strong dude, man. He out there got those good, clean.
Only did.
Lego men time.
Yeah, see, he's having a really
fail.
rough time. He's having a really rough time with the
You had 5.
clean muscle ups. But again, Iz knows he's pulling ahead now, and I think he's just being real strategic. He's taking his rest when he needs it.
10. 10 more to go. 10 more to go.
I think this is gonna come down to have that Vinny. Have a strategy too, so on how you do your reps with each athlete knowing their own self, right? Because hey, sometimes you want to get a muscle up and you don't rest enough, you're gonna fail, and then that actually takes you energy and takes you win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it takes longer to recover and try to get another one.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And again, I've never competed, and I'm sure I never will at this level. Obviously, I won't. But when I see guys do this, especially when you start off, say with a long set of pull-ups, maybe 30, 35, whatever it is. Let's say 30 pull-ups. In my mind, I'm thinking, what is it smart to go start off and go all out on those 30 reps, or should you break those up into more manageable blocks? Maybe do 10 or 15. Take a couple of seconds, then do 10 or 15. And then now the other guy is going to come right out and blow through 30 reps and tire himself out probably a lot quicker. I would think, in my mind, that again, not being involved in it and just as a spectator saying, maybe that would be a strategy to try. You know what I mean? Don't come out and go all out from the gate.
I agree with that.
Because the other guy, if he comes out and he wants to do, 30 pull-ups, and then he's got to go into, say, 25 dips, and he wants to do the one set of 25 dips. Well, if you strategically break it up and do sets of, you do 15, and then when you get on your dips, you do 10, take 5 seconds, do some more, you know what I mean? And just break it up like that. You know, you could maybe sneak in a little rest there as you go along. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, this went on, and obviously, you know, is pulling ahead here.
12.
And Mantime really struggling with the,
7 more.
you know, with the muscle ups.
15. 16.
But at this time, you know, now,
19.
you know, is looking over, and he knows he's well ahead.
That's it. 3 muscle ups, body weight.
And his reps are still looking great.
It's still looking good.
Still looking really good. He's smooth. He's controlled.
So that's what I was talking about, Vinny, right there. That's a rep, bro. All right. Where if you get on the bar and then it takes you up. So that's a rep, I guess, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's 2 reps. That's 2 reps.
That's tough, man. All the way where they at right now, they're already doing big work.
Absolutely.
You had 2 pulls.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, people who haven't done calisthenics, I don't think they understand, you know,
6 reps. 6 reps.
the talent it takes, the endurance this takes, the strength that it takes. Unfortunately, you know, right now, you know, Mantime is pretty much cooked.
Yeah, he
just
can't get
you know,
those.
can't.
Oh, there it is.
1.
Yeah, he's really, and again, is just, you know, taking his time. He knows he's ahead at this point.
What you said about the strategy, I think that works on this time because you gotta kind of think of the long run. You gotta think of a long game, especially on some crazy routine like this.
Yeah, I would think. Again, you know, I'm never gonna compete on that level, or, you know, I don't understand. I'm sure they go into it with a strategy, but in my mind, as a spectator looking at it removed and just watching it, I would say, well, why come straight out of the gate and try and blow through 30 reps in one set when you could do 10, and even if you come off that bar for 5-6 seconds, jump back on the bar, do another set, and then come off. You're not going to really exhaust yourself completely, and you're going to be sneaking in those few seconds of rest where you could catch a few breaths. So, you know, especially like you said, these competitions like this where these sets are just crazy. You know, I mean, these guys are doing the weighted, you know, 35-pound weighted pull-ups. Then, and here they came down and they were doing, you know, the weighted squats with the kettlebell. So it takes its toll.
Definitely. No, man. I'm amazed by all this whole thing, man. Once this came out, the few first matches. Oh man, I was just amazed.
Yeah. We're a little further along here.
Oh, they're onto 2 muscle ups. No
So
red.
there
Oh,
was
see,
one
there
they
you go.
caught.
That was yeah.
Yeah. I'll see now. He's explaining it to that he said his legs came out too far. So again, very subjective. How far is too far? How do you know? And I think if you had some type of physical barrier, again, like a wire or a piece of rope or whatever, just something there where if the feet touch it or if the legs touch it, then you know for a fact that it was actually too far.
2 more.
Yeah, because a little bit ago, Mantime did the same thing, and they count his rep. Like you said again, you know, it's subjective on the judge.
That's 2.
Exactly.
Maybe they could have the same judges for every match.
1.
3.
Well, again, like we said before, you know, they're down in Maryland now, and then they've had competitions up in New York. So you're going to have different judges, I would assume, at different locations.
4.
You know, and who knows where else? I mean, these guys, you know, and Mel have been traveling around, literally around the world. You know, they've been to Germany,
man.
Dubai, you know, California, wherever. I mean, they've been all over the place. So I don't know where they have other competitions planned. So, you know, if you talk about judges, obviously the judges are going to have to be
6.
You're right.
probably based in the locations, you know, where they're at,
8.
right?
10. Leg straight. You're at 9.
No red.
10.
I didn't get that
And
one.
that's on the
Oh, the
pull-up.
kicking.
Yeah, That's on the these are just straight pull-ups, and they're calling no reps
Yes,
on
5
it.
more.
So I don't know there if they said he didn't come down far enough or he didn't get over the bar.
No rep. No rep.
No knee
Oh,
flexion.
no rep.
Yeah, the leg.
Yeah,
No
see,
knee flexion. Oh man.
That's one.
now he gave it to him.
1,
So now
Oh man.
this here okay. So for all intents and purposes, is finished. Is what he's got one more set to do some burpees. He knows obviously that man time is cooked. So he's got to do these burpees. He decides to take a little rest here.
nope. 3 more.
And he gets a bag of
Oh,
Cheetos.
He can't win. I don't care what it is. You're crazy.
Oh man.
Need some water.
Really? Hey, this is psychology, man. He just fucked his mind up. He just fucked man time's mind.
Yeah.
He got it mentally right there, man. Mental is big into these things, Benny. Just like
yeah.
it is in boxing, sometimes you got those boxers. When they play with the opponent and it messes with their mind. Oh
Yeah.
man. He
And there are
took the
some
chip
guys
right.
that most people are going to be affected by those mind games, but there are some guys that can overcome that are mentally strong enough to overcome it. But here, obviously, man time is struggling physically and mentally, and then he looks over, and who's way far ahead, is sitting there having a bag of chips and a bottle of water. So that's going to really. Now, the other thing too is that good sportsmanship. You could make a case that no, but again, I don't know. I don't know the backstory with these two guys. Is there some reason why, Iz was really, really pissed off at this guy, and or was it just the competition that it didn't sit right with him in the last competition that he couldn't finish, and he really wanted to put an exclamation point on this win, and he thought like having the Cheetos break would be a way to do it. I don't know.
Man. He had to plan that. He definitely had to plan that. If I'm winning, man, pass me the chips. He really had to plan that. He had to.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. If I'm that far ahead and you see me sit down, throw me that bag of chips.
Throw me that bag of chips. Yeah, man. Go ahead.
I'm gonna rub it in this guy. I'm gonna rub it in this guy's face a little bit. You know what I mean? So, or maybe he was just that hungry. It is a tough set. Maybe he just got that hungry.
That's funny.
I don't know.
That's maybe in the rules too, or what are they can make it into that. And you know what, Vinny, I think this comes more down to publicity and make it fun because people love that shit. People love the drama. People love the all these things because one of the most famous boxers are the ones that made a show, and this is a show. That's what it is done. It's done for people to entertain. So I think it's coming down more to that.
Yeah,
definitely not good at sportsmanship.
Yeah. I think you could make a great case that it wasn't, on the surface, it wasn't a good look, like it wasn't good sportsmanship. But things like that sell because I mean that was I think that was Iz's version of like if he was in football and he just caught a touchdown pass, he's spiking the ball and then doing a dance in the end zone.
Exactly. I guess. Yeah.
And a lot of people are entertained by that. They like that, and then there's probably going to be a faction of people that would say, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. It was, but either way, he did it, and it was a decisive win. You know what I mean? So whatever was wrong with him, obviously there was something wrong with him last time for him not to finish that set, and then to come back and finish this set as strong as he did. So strong that he took a Cheetos break.
And that's how it be, man. That's how it be. There's those days that shit don't really go your way.
Yeah. So I have to assume that at some point there will be, a third match. You got to have the trilogy. right? Because
I really want to see that. I really want to see that because it's gonna. Now the motivation after this is different for both of them. One is gonna defend the title, and then one is gonna take the title.
Yeah.
So this is.
Yeah, and I wonder, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but if they have the trilogy, and if by chance Man-Time pulls far out ahead, is he going to sit down and have a sandwich, or
Oh,
you know what I mean? Or an ice cream cone? You know what I mean? Somebody bring me an ice cream sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, I got time to eat this before it melts. So I don't know. It's good though. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's great to watch. Again, I'm a big calisthenics fan. I like stuff like this. I think Iz came up with a great idea, and again, I hope it does take off because it's good for guys like us that even like to watch it, and it definitely motivates me. To get moving too and do things like you said, like you watched this, and what'd you do? You went and tried it. You went and tried the set.
I want to try more of the ones that are coming up, man. Shit, I might try to compete one day. Who knows? That's it's very motivating, man. It's good to have that in the forefront and say like, well, I gotta get ready for this and train. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right, brother. So that was it. That was match 1 and 2. We'll look out for the trilogy, and hopefully we'll be back with that. But we definitely have, again, there's some couple other matches that we want to get into too. So we'll do that hopefully in the near future.
Yes, sir.
So
this was fun.
Call it a wrap. Yeah, good stuff. All right, brother. As always, I appreciate you. Everybody check out and subscribe. My guy, Crusades of Motivation. Check out his channel. He's got some good stuff over there. He's doing some good stuff. Very motivational. Always appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you check out REPZ HD, Man-Time, Settle It on the Bars. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.
Hey, God bless you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Vinny.